Hey, I'm gonna say weird personal shit. If you don't want to hear weird personal shit, just don't watch this. But I think maybe what am I trying to say, dude? Like, getting old really sucks, and I didn't really understand what it was like when I was younger. But there's this movie called The Big Chill, and it does kind of get like cold and gray, and like the passion kind of dies out, but there's little things that you can do to kind of like keep the heat on. And so the last 5 years since I have been working, I've really learned a lot about that, at least what works for me. And so probably no one's watching this, but like get the point. Anyway, like like only really 3 months ago, I was doing jujitsu because I listened to all these other dudes, and these dudes talk like, now that I've heard like so many people talk, I'm kind of starting to think that like you can kind of peel back the veil and like, oh shit, like everybody's kind of thinking the same thing. Or at least like if I think something and I think, oh, maybe that's not me, or maybe that's just me, I start to hear other people and I'm like, oh, it's not just me, like everybody kind of feels these ways. What am I trying to say? Specifically about like aging is basically like, I've listened to like a lot of like different people, and I heard Bill Maher. Bill Maher's 70, and Bill Maher basically says that it's good to still be connected to young people. He says, I do that like the vampire that I am, and I'm like, of course, of course. He says that like you have to sort of like keep the joie de vivre. Basically, like it does kind of feel like the shower, like you can just, the heat kind of goes down, and you can do these little things to like kind of get, I got some more heat. Get the point, Sean. Well, like I'm looking at this, I've listened to all these Joe Rogan things, and Joe Rogan, he kind of keeps the heat going by basically staying connected to people through like all these social things like podcasts and stuff, and like stand-up comedy, things to feel alive, things to like stay talking and connected. But by default, the world kind of goes like, don't be connected. Just kind of get isolated. Quit talking. Quit showing your face to the world. You're old. You should just kind of shut up and sit at some screen or read a book or something like that. And I'm just like, oh, the world can just kind of beat you into some kind of isolated, quiet submission of like lonely isolation and like basically silent, sedentary, secluded. I forget. There's like 5 S's to like avoid. And there's like these people who kind of figure out like little tricks around it. And I'm like, shit, like maybe, I don't know. What am I trying to say? Just basically like last year, my plan was to basically like keep doing jujitsu and like keep doing jujitsu to feel alive and to get like a feeling of like life, like doing jujitsu, even, Murphy, stop. Just jujitsu basically is a good way to like stay connected to like people, and like young people. There's like young energy. I don't know how to explain it, but also just like the almost getting strangled. It makes you think like, fuck, I gotta keep running. I gotta keep working out. Now I'm listening, and then like there's something about like having tattoos on your face. Like at jujitsu, there was another guy at jujitsu who was like 40 something, and he had tattooed his whole head, which is kind of like a little trick. Like I basically feel like men are kind of pitted in this weird situation where they can't openly admit like the same thing women can't. Like women can go like, I hate my face is melting and like I'm losing my hair. Men have to just be like, I don't care. But like, I fucking care. I fucking hate it. Just like women hate it, I fucking hate it. But like men come up with like creative ways to like get around it. It feels like men also have to be kind of cool. I don't know. Like if I look at like celebrity men that a lot of people like, they can't just wimp out. I've never seen any celebrity man who goes like, I'm scared to get old. I'm scared of losing my looks. I don't want to get ugly. That people would be like, like you're some kind of like female gay guy or something. So they have to do some kind of roundabout thing where they go like, I still have like painted hair, but it's like it's a tattoo. It's a tattoo. But really it's basically hair. He basically painted on what looks like hair, but it's like no, it's a tattoo. So the tattoo is kind of like, I'm still like badass. It's like he's kind of really like covering his neck wrinkles, and it gives him like a youthful look. But really, like he can't basically say like, I'm fighting against aging. I want to preserve my cool. I want to still be young seeming, because that would be like pathetic. And men can't be pathetic. They have to be like, I'm not scared. Bring on the fucking like. it seems like they can say like I don't want to die, but they can't go like I'm scared of getting old and ugly and irrelevant, and so they have to basically like do some kind of like roundabout trick. What's my point? I just feel like last year I thought like, man, I just want to get like face paint. I want to like tattoo my face, but I want like clown makeup. Like I wanted to do like a furry, like basically an animal nose, a red stripe across my face, and like black lipstick. And then I want to have like red hair. And I feel like that would be fucking cool because you look kind of like a freak, but also I like the look. I just like looking like pretty or like cute. I think like having like a permanent animal nose, it's kind of like a cute look. And to me, it basically circumvents aging. It's kind of like, yeah, I look like a weirdo, but it's better than looking like just some dying like old man. And so I tried that last year, and like my dad basically said like, no, it's too weird. I'm too embarrassed. I'm gonna kick you out of here if you have that. And so I kind of like I got it lasered off. But I think they're on basically if I think that is kind of like the right idea. I basically feel like if there is no jobs, like basically if my dad wasn't in the picture, I might do that. Like basically it just seems like you can just kind of get relegated to just some kind of sedentary, like lifeless, antisocial, sedentary, reading a book, looking at screens. It just seems like that's kind of what like life can become after like 40 anyway. And so it just kind of seems like any way that you can sort of like keep kicking and screaming and just get some like artificial life, like just like testosterone, working out, like cardio, weightlifting. Testosterone's not kind of weird, but testosterone really like, and then jujitsu, like basically like I'm listening to these guys and jujitsu really does like, it does keep you alive. Basically, I wonder basically if like, what am I trying to say? I wonder if basically in the future, if they don't cure aging and death, I wonder if they'll basically have this thing. I feel like you could have some kind of cool lifestyle where they go like, when you're basically in your prime, which is basically late teens, 20s, early 30s, you can, like a Polaroid photo, you can bring out the best of yourself. You can be your soul. You can be like the real you. Don't sell your soul. But then I feel like once you're like 40 something or 50, your soul is kind of tarnished. Like you can't really be your best you anymore. That's what I feel like. It's basically like I can't be my best anymore. And so then I just think like, fuck like trying to be an artist or whatever the hell my dream was. How about just trying to be like a generically, like I just want some life in me. Like I just feel like just preserve the life, because the life just kind of dies. And I feel like you could kind of have this like, you could just become some kind of like generic man and generic live man. And I feel like Joe Rogan, he could give people like an artificial life. Like he kind of is doing that. Like when they talk about this, they make it sound like you're kind of selling your soul. Like I don't know how to explain it, but when I listen to these things, it's just like there's like this generic man stuff that can make you feel alive. Like if you don't have any kind of life of your own, if you don't have any plans, if you listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, he'll kind of get into your head and make you think like, hey, are you like kind of feeling dead and depressed? Here's some things that can make you feel alive. And one of them is basically like, yeah, running and weightlifting is kind of like just generic. If you run and weightlift, you kind of I do feel like more alive. Like just getting my heart rate up, it's like, yeah, that kind of makes me feel alive. But then you sort of just become this like generic sort of like imitation cool guy. But it's kind of better. It seems better than sometimes it seems better than just being some like dead, washed up person sitting in a room waiting to die, which basically seems like what I'm doing if I can't get a job. That's my general feeling right now. Is like, if I could get a job and if I could have like a wife and kids, then it would be cool to be like a respectable, normal man. But then if I couldn't do it, there could be some kind of thing about like, fuck it, just get like a tattoo on your face, dye your hair red, take testosterone and just be kind of a freak. Just don't break any laws and be like a special person. Like basically this seems like a preferable way. Basically if there was no need to have like a respectable job and career, like basically if they had like universal basic income and nobody had to worry about people hiring them, I kind of think this is kind of a cool way to be like an older person, because basically this guy's like, I feel really old and washed up. This guy's 51. This guy basically, Travis Barker, he's 5 years older than me. So he's 51 years old. And it just seems like you can preserve youth. Like you can preserve kind of like a youthful, childish thing. And I kind of, when I listen to these guys, I really do, like now that I've become an older person,
I basically feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like you really do like progress into elder years. I feel like really you just kind of die. You're kind of like a worse version. Like the life just kind of you lose the life. I feel like the best thing you can do really is kind of hold on to your soul, to hold on to your youth. Like this guy, he's doing a good job. Him and Joe Rogan are doing a good job of like preserving their youthful spirit rather than just being like, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. I'm an old person. I should just act like an old person. The world will just kind of beat you into submission and go like, I perceive you as an old man. You should just act like an old man. But basically, if you can just kind of be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I still play the drums and I still am like a cool guy. And I wear like, he's wearing like a kid's shirt and stuff. And he's happy. He's like expressing himself. He's vital. And the world will just kind of try to just say like, what are you doing? You're acting like a teenager. You're not a teenager. Grow up, dude. Grow up. You're some fucking like, you're a 50-year-old man. Act like it. And then they go, you're right. I'm sorry. I should just wear a collared shirt and like, what's the point? I think that's my general conclusion. Is just like, if you can get a career and a job and that makes it so you can have a wife and kids, that's better. And that's not everybody can be like a rock star. But I just think, I wonder basically if there's like increasingly just a bunch of people who are just kind of out of the running. They're too unemployed. And if they have like universal basic income, I hope there's some kind of like new way to be like a 40 and 50 something where you just kind of basically try to like preserve life. Actually, having done that like the last year, that really is kind of like a wonderful sort of generic lifestyle for just being like not depressed as like a 40, 50, 60-year-old is basically just doing like beginner jiu-jitsu classes like 5 days a week and then just running every day and lifting weights every day. And just basically all day, every day, just trying to preserve like vitality, just trying to fight off like the malaise of aging. You could do it by like, just run first thing in the morning, be constantly active, being like verbally active, mentally active, do some kind of like playing drums, playing music, keep talking, keep moving, and then do some kind of like CrossFit type workout, and then do some kind of jiu-jitsu type workout. And if you just did that like every day, you're kind of like wake up, like you're kind of like shaking life into yourself, and you feel kind of like, well, this is like, I feel kind of alive. It just seems preferable to just kind of dying in like sedentary, kind of quiet, defeated old age. It kind of like, I feel like, what am I trying to say? Basically, like, I feel tempted to do. Basically, I said I gotta. When these guys are talking about like, what am I trying to say? I just keep hearing the same people say different shit. I heard Woody Allen, I heard Bill Maher, and I've heard these people who are much older than me who are like 70 saying like, there's nothing good about being old, and you gotta like fight. You gotta sort of like, you gotta stay active. Like it's like everybody's thinking the same things. The veil is kind of down and you can kind of see how all these different people think, and I'm just like, and people have figured out some shit, and a lot of that shit really is kind of like very enlivening, and it does make it seems clearly preferable to being a normal 50-year-old, unless being a normal 50-year-old makes it so you can have a career and a wife and kids and house. That seems kind of better. And the more that I look around, the more I'm just like, these people all around the world have been faced with these same things for a very long time. Like, there's nothing new. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, there's this movie called The Incredibles where they depict the same like middle-age malaise very well. There's a movie called The Incredibles by Pixar where they show this middle-aged guy who's like, he's like avoiding everything. He's bummed out because he looks like shit. He probably hasn't had hot sex in like a really long time, and everything's just kind of cold and gray, and he's just like, oh god. He's like, yes, honey. And he's like, Bob, it's time to engage. And he's like, you're trying to relive the glory years. And he's like, it's better than pretending that they never happened. And she's like, well, this is happening now. And so it's just kind of like, I feel like these things are kind of like all over the place. And what am I saying? I think there's kind of like, there's probably a lot of like sad situations where somebody who had a wife and family, which does seem kind of like a wonderful thing, like kind of jeopardizes it by trying to get back the glory years. Like basically, if this guy wasn't a rock star, if this guy was some kind of CPA accountant, he had a family, and he quit his accounting job to go become a rock star drummer, and he tattooed his face, and it's like, well, now you fucked up your job and you lost your wife. Like the guy in like Falling Down. There was a movie called Falling Down where this guy basically like fucked up his wife and kid, and now he's like some kind of psycho. And so what's my point? I don't know, I basically feel like that seems like the only reason that people kind of like keep why they don't do this. It feels like there's a wonderful freedom in just being like, fuck it, I'm just gonna tattoo my face and I'm just gonna I'm not playing. I'm not like a normal adult. I'm some kind of freak guy. And now I'm fucking free and I can do what I want and I can do like my childhood dream. Seems very wonderful, but very few people can do it without kind of just becoming like a total fucking loser person. And so what's my point? But that being said, like those people, like even Charles Manson, if I watch Charles Manson, he does seem to have some sort of like childlike freedom where he's not some kind of like cookie cut like corporate person who's kind of like filed down and watered down and handcuffed. He's kind of, he seems more like kind of like a grown-up version of like his kid self. And I'm just, what am I trying to say? I think that really is kind of like the what am I trying to say? I just feel like old age, it's not better. It's not really like better. It's like you can trade in and you can have that maturity thing, and it is conducive to having a career, but it is at the same time, I think, a little bit deadening. And then like if you're kind of free of that, like one of these people, it could jeopardize your job, and I think that's terrible to do. And so nobody should watch this. I'm not trying to encourage that. But I just think if they have some kind of future where there's no fucking jobs and people are like, well, there's no reason to be like normal anyway. Let me just tattoo my face and just do some weird shit as long as I don't break any laws. Let me tattoo my hair. Let me tattoo my face. Let me get red hair and just be like some fucking weirdo. I think it could be like better. I hope they have that, basically. As I've said that for like a long time. It's like, I hope they have some kind of Burning Man future where they just go like, yeah, whatever. Like just wear like a costume or something. Because I feel like if I wear like a costume and I pretend like I'm some sort of character person, I can do a lot more show off shit and I can act more like a kid, which really is like a lot more freeing, especially just living online. Also, like the more I listen to Joe Rogan, it sounds like a lot of people are starting to just kind of like, Joe Rogan said like, a good way to live is pretend that you were on camera all day long, or pretend that like you wanted to be the type of person that some woman would really like. Or what am I trying to say? I don't know, but it sounds like, I agree. I think if you just kind of live streamed all day, every day, like a camera was following, you have a really camera really is following you, you probably would sort of like live better. I just hope there's some kind of like lifestyles like that in the future. Anyway, but I'm not going to go to do that anymore. I was thinking that last year, but now I'm just starting to think like, fuck it, I'm just going to get a job and get some dermal filler and Botox and just try to be like a normal person. But if there's no fucking jobs after another year, I might just say fuck it, because I'll basically be like in a suicidal type hopeless position. And if I don't know, if I ever inherit like a big pot of money or something, I might basically just get a permanent makeup on my face, dye my hair red, and just be like, whatever, I'm not breaking any laws. Find a local jiu-jitsu gym, get on testosterone, and just basically try to preserve like some kind of feeling of life. It is kind of nice to like, it's nice to basically evade aging, even delusionary. I just feel like I used to be a kid. I'm still kind of basically just like a big grown-up kid, and I basically feel like if you had a kid and the kid suddenly was like 46, it would feel like a fucking nightmare. Like that's kind of how I still kind of feel, is basically if I used to be a kid and then just a bunch of years go by and it's like, fuck, like I'm some like middle-aged ugly guy. It is a fucking nightmare. I think people don't really get, they just kind of like ignore it, but it is a fucking nightmare. And I feel like a lot of kids, if they suddenly were like 50, they'd be like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna put a tattoo on my face and my head. It's better than being like an authentic like old guy. He found like a little trick to still look cool at like 50, and so I think that's smart. But it's smart if you're a rock star, but it's not smart if it jeopardizes like wife and kids and stuff. And so what's the point? That's my general conclusion, is that like, for having listened to a lot of people, everybody fucking hates aging. If they say they don't, they're kind of lying. And like, I hope they have some kind of future where they have universal basic income, and then people can just do some fucking weird shit in their old age and just be like, I'm a furry, or I'm doing some cosplay thing as like a 60-year-old. And if it enables them to like express themselves, talk, play some kind of character, emote, feel alive, and like move their body and stuff, I think it's better actually. than just being like an authentic old person, unless there's some social or economic reason to be like a normal person. I say this, but like,
What's one point?
it's hard to truly be like a freak like that like every day. But I can do it if basically if I still can't get a fucking job in another year, I might do that. I might just basically just get permanent makeup and dye my hair red and just be like, whatever. It's better than being like a normal, like, ugly, grayed out old guy. It sucks. But that's my opinion, but I could be wrong.
Anyway, nobody's watching this. I'm gonna leave my live stream on because life is kind of better if I just leave it on. But I want to be beautiful. I want to be pretty. And I'm not. But if I put some shit over my face, I can be. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. Why not just do this like all the time? It's better.
It's so much. It makes life like a big like childish sleepover. I really just like. That's honestly how I feel right now. Is I feel like old age is basically a fucking nightmare of just melting and dying and just everything. It's just like fuck. I'm some like fucking old melting guy. It's fucking nightmare. It's horrible.
But if I just put this shit on my face, as long as I don't see it, it's not such a nightmare. It's like, hey, I'm like doing a sleepover party. I'm like some sort of character. It takes the edge off. I felt that way a year ago. I still feel like that today. And when the more and more I listen to these other people, I think a lot of people feel that way. Maybe they don't, but I have a feeling that like a lot of people feel that way. And then in like 10 years, they'll just admit it and they'll just say, yeah, of course it's fucking awful. Like you should just cover yourself up with some artificial shit. Tattoos or something. It's better. I think it's better. But it's job jeopardizing. That's the problem.
Oh, I could feel for him.
Oh, dude, I've seen that
imagine.
before. I've seen that with multiple fighters. I know one guy who, during the night before the fight, his girlfriend at the time would always start fights with him, like huge fights, like because she